by the sports Dr. Colin McLaughlin and brought to you in part by the Mansion Ferretti Law Offices. Get more with Mansion Ferretti, WVJusticeLawyers.com. Also by Hagerstown Ford and Hancock Chevrolet. Get your next vehicle off their website. They deliver it to you. You don't like it, they take it back at Hagerstown Ford and Hancock Chevrolet. They now do the same with service. As we welcome in our co-hosts, Maria Lawrenson, who gets top billing on the days the Admiral is out.
Very excited about that. Not saying that we don't want him to come back, but it is nice to be at the top.
Top billing.
Top billing.
It's important.
It is. No, it's not. My co-host today is doing a great job.
His name is Bill Kearns. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. As part of the Queen's Court, we're blessed that we're in the same room with her this morning.
For a brief moment, I was going to wear my Queen Bee T-shirt, but
Next time.
Not very professional, really.
Bill's,
Only on a day I'm not working.
Bill Stubblefield sent me a text. He said the two of you are doing an outstanding job. He was worried that it might affect his future on the show as a co-host.
Yeah, that's just because we're splitting his salary between the two of us.
That's exactly it. But I am getting more questions in, Bill Stubblefield, just saying.
And I will say, it has been refreshing to be able to introduce the second co-host without Bill interrupting before they get a chance to say good morning. So that's worked out well, too. Otherwise, Bill, we'll see you here maybe Friday. I don't know. We'll see. He's going to let me know on Thursday. Our guest in this segment continued to be Steve Catlett, so if you didn't get enough of an hour of Steve Catlett, 90 minutes is even better.
It's a little overwhelming, I'm sure.
You're doing a great
job. The excitement is overflowing.
Yeah.
If you stay another half hour, you're officially a co-host.
Okay.
Yeah? What do you think?
I won't take over the number one spot. Let her have it.
Oh, no, you'd be number...
I'll be number three.
Buzz Poland is here as well. Buzz, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah. Tilt the mic a little bit more towards your mouth there.
Got it.
Buzz.
Got it.
Yeah, use the frame. Yeah, the black frame. There you go.
You moved
Oh,
that
even
up
better.
Even
Perfect.
better.
Perfect. Well, there's an annual tradition in the area that is to be carried out one more time again this year. Buzz, what do you got for me?
Well, it is summer. Parks and Rec is in full bloom. Wonderful senior swim and aerobics program for people that might not be familiar with that. I did want to put a plug in for that. That's 11 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday at War Memorial Park for people that want to swim laps or just float around on a noodle, whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the Lambert Pool, it's a water aerobics class where that's.
And what time is that?
That's same time.
Till
Same
12
time.
noon?
Yeah.
And if you can stay late till 12:08.
Here you go. The pool's open to the public at 12 noon, so this way they just bring the lifeguards in 1 hour earlier for these two senior swim things. And I don't think anybody's checking IDs. Never have.
So what's the qualifying age for senior swims?
I said 55.
Made
but
55.
No
I
one
think
checks so.
We all qualify.
Yeah.
I'm definitely plus 55.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go float around on a noodle, though. I mean, I wrote that down. Buzz, it sounds like a delightful way to spend an hour floating around on a noodle.
On days like today, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know about the park's water, but I know my swimming pool was nice 95 degrees last night.
Oh, my.
You're
water.
swimming in a hot tub.
Yeah.
You might have to be like Steve used to have to go out and buy or get donated
Ice?
huge truckloads of ice
Yeah.
to add to the pools when it got into this kind of weather.
It's not
If
refreshing.
it continues.
Yeah.
I didn't know you
The
did that.
Lambert pool yesterday was 86, but 2 weeks ago it was 73.
Mm-hmm.
Big
It's
diff.
really
It's mostly about the night temperature that controls your, because when you get cool nights, then the heat dissipates really fast. And then so it's the warm nights that keeps it really warm.
And we've had those. But that was floating on a noodle was not the summer tradition I was talking about.
Yeah,
I know. So, so we're already
Let's hope
basically
not.
one third of the summer pool season is gone, which means it's definitely time today to start talking about the Labor Day breakfast at War Memorial Park, the one and only annual fundraiser specifically for the War Memorial Park Association, which operates as sort of a Friends of the Park type organization. Back in 1987, the private 501c3 that owned War Memorial Park for many, many decades since its formation in the late 1940s, sold the park to the city of Martinsburg for $1 with a deed restriction that it forever and always be used for public recreation. And the board at the time agreed to stay on and wanted to keep having fundraisers to just help with capital improvements and whatnot at the park. And there's been many a project there over the decades. And this past winter and spring, the Holla Pavilion was replaced, which is depleted any and all savings that we had, and there's always going to be another project coming. I don't know what next is actually going to be, but we know there'll be something.
What did that pavilion cost?
That project was a $125,000 project, of which we didn't have enough funds to complete it, but before Senator Blair left office, he gave us a LEDA grant for $50,000 towards that. And also Charlie Trump, we got 10,000 LEDA from Charlie Trump's coffers before he went to become a Supreme Court justice. So that paid for almost half of the total project, and the revenue that we had grown over the years from the breakfast proceeds and other donations paid the difference. So the park system itself did not have to put any funding into the project. It was all funded from the Park Association and those grants.
If you'd have gotten that pavilion replaced 10 years ago, what would that have cost then?
Pre-COVID.
$75,000.
Yeah. That's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Just the growth and the expenses of doing
I'll give
anything.
you an example. The main pavilion, which would be a lot more costly and a lot larger, when we redid it years ago, it was a $60,000 project. And that was a huge project for us at the time, and it's still standing today and looking as great as it ever did.
Well, when you redid War Memorial Park 30 years ago, what did that cost?
You mean the pool?
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah, what would that cost today?
About three to four.
Right?
For
yeah.
sure.
How can you afford to do anything?
Yeah.
That's
You're right.
it's incredible.
But like everything else in all the departments of the county and in the Parks and Rec for sure, all these things need maintenance. That pool that was totally rebuilt in 1998
Yeah. Joe
had to
Burton?
have a whole new liner in it, but
It's-
4 years ago.
Yeah, and Joe says it's leaking this year.
27 years old now. They don't last forever. They have to be repaired.
That's hard to believe. We were doing this interview 27 years ago with Gib Miller about that pool in 1998, Steve.
Yeah,
Right? That's incredible.
sure.
So Buzz, let's you started this conversation off about this breakfast. I haven't had breakfast yet this morning. What's on the menu, and what's cost?
The
Well,
usual.
The breakfast is a traditional, Bill, is your choice of a fresh, never frozen, beef tenderloin steak,
New York strip.
New York strip,
Okay.
8-ounce serving, fresh grilled to your specifications. It's not a buffet. It's not you got to cook your own or do whatever. I mean, you come in, there's volunteer waiters, waitresses that will take your order, bring you fresh coffee, orange juice, milk if you prefer. You have your choice.
Bottled water. We
Yeah,
go through a lot of that.
Sure. Tea. We've got tea there always. Scrambled eggs, toast, your choice of the beef steak or country ham. And Steve's done a marvelous job over the last several years of perfecting the preparation of the country ham.
There you go.
We have
It only
not.
took for 35 years to figure it out, but we finally got there a few years ago. And we get no complaints about it being too salty or too tough anymore.
Wow. There you
So
go.
that was quite an accomplishment. I was so proud of that.
Good thing to be proud of, Steve.
Yeah.
The ticket price went up last year for the first time in about 6 years, and so we're keeping the price the same this year. It'll be $35 in advance, which we try to sell tickets in advance. We probably sell 95% of our tickets are pre-sold in advance. And then if people do, for whatever reason, want to wait, hold off, they're $40 at the door.
Do you have it set up where people can actually pre-purchase online?
The office staff is working on that. That's a little over my head. I'm not real technologically inclined. My beautiful wife Lisa handles that at home.
The whole world has tickets that they have available, and Buzz can give you a list of maybe 15,
Actually, Bill,
30 people who have tickets available, and you don't need to go online.
And
They'll
his
hound you.
beautiful wife that he referenced
Yeah.
a minute ago is also my boss.
Okay, there you go.
the Bill now might have a little extra time to take a block of tickets and help sell some tickets for us.
If Rob doesn't take up my extra time,
Yeah.
I'll split it with you.
you split it.
I'll split your time
There
with you.
go.
You can have
There you go.
part on the show.
You're in.
Part as a ticket.
I don't have the tickets today, or I'd be laying them on you right now. But we will have.
You didn't bring samples of the breakfast in with you either.
No.
That's early
It's
for
a
that.
doggone shame.
The tickets are promised to be ready from the printer by July 1, and we will start getting those distributed. They'll be on sale at the Parks and Rec Administrative Office, Chamber of Commerce, several Patterson's Drugstore, several public places like that always have them. And then, as Maria says, many other volunteers have tickets that they're out trying to sell, and they usually have regulars. But if anyone has any problem at all wanting a ticket, and or bring the whole family, we'll be happy to sell you 10 or a dozen or however big your family is.
Is there a differential then, Buzz, for children under a certain age?
Well, all the tickets are the same price that include the steak or country ham. Then for children 10 and under, and we don't really check IDs, but
Kind of like
some
the senior
kids are-
swim.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your
Very,
noodle.
very similar.
On my noodle.
Very similar. It is free. The breakfast is free. The child will not get a steak or the country ham, but they'll get pancakes, scrambled eggs, juice, milk, coffee if the parents.
Maria, I think they would check our ID if we went in
They
and
sure
tried to-
would.
tried
I
to
don't
ask
need
for
that country ham. I just need the eggs and pancakes.
Steve and Buzz, what is the biggest project you've taken on with some of these funds to replace something at the park? What is it? Was it the most recent project, which was $125,000?
The pavilion project, sure, but others, the playgrounds, systems, throughout the years, all kinds of different improvements. It helped with the renovation of getting the Doughboy out there and then doing all the work in and around that project. So it's been invaluable, and not just the breakfast proceeds, but we've been bequeathed in several wills over the years for just specifically for War Memorial Park, and had those funds available. And with the money we've gotten from state legislators with LEDA grants, of all the places in the park system, War Memorial is the one place that's the easiest to receive donations for because of what that park means to our community. And it's a living memorial to all those Berkeley County veterans that gave the ultimate sacrifice, and it's a special place for a lot of people in this community, and it's in better shape than it's ever been in its entire history, and it gets used literally by thousands and thousands of residents and visitors a year, and it's a special place, and we just do our best to continue to raise funds to support that.
What's the total acreage of that park, Steve?
It's at
15.
no, it's
roughly.
at 19.6 to be exact.
Wow.
So yeah.
19.6 acres.
Grew.
Well, and it is,
Saying 15.
We've annexed a few properties.
and as Steve says, it's just a beautiful spot. in the city. It's part of my walking route when I'm walking, even in this weather. Not last night, but the night before. I went out at 8:30 when it was, no, it wasn't reasonable, but it was better than
Sure. At 3
usual.
o'clock in the afternoon.
And still, there was nobody. There were no children really playing, although there were a group of young men, I think, playing basketball on the basketball courts there. And, so it's used all the time. And just lovely to walk through. Just all the tree cover. And
Well, let me
it's
ask you,
wonderful.
in regards to impact fees, Steve, once those start to arrive, I suspect that those will be helpful to War Memorial Park, and they'd be
Could
directed in that direction?
If you can show that it's because of the new growth, you need this particular addition or,
a new
capital
pavilion
improvement,
or
then absolutely, yes.
But repairs of swimming pool liners would not
Would
qualify.
not qualify, right.
Even though the usage is
If it's-
is increasing because of the growth.
Right, but if it's an existing facility, it doesn't qualify. It has to be a new capital development because of the new growth that justifies the need.
So you couldn't repair a pavilion, but you could construct a new one if you
Construct a
needed
new
to.
one. That's correct.
Do you have sites still around that you would use for a new pavilion at this time?
Well, absolutely. Poorhouse Farm with the additional acreage out there hasn't been developed yet. That could be a prime place to
I
spend.
believe there's just one
some
pavilion out there, Poorhouse Farm, isn't it? One big one.
There's
The Rotary Pavilion.
there's a-
Come closer to your mic,
Kester.
Buzz.
right. The Rotary Pavilion is the large one, but then also there's the Kester Pavilion. They're both rented. And then there's a small pavilion on the other side of the creek out there that just is open for anybody that wants to have a. In fact, there's two, one along the lake and one on the other side of the creek that you can just come and use, without scheduling it or paying for it. So, but with the new acreage out there, the 70 acres, it hadn't been developed yet. So there's obviously going to be needs over there.
So just to be clear, if you, because of use, had to construct a bigger pavilion from one that was existing that maybe was made several years ago for a certain number of requests, would impact fees cover the reconstruction of an existing pavilion?
It could be used to extend it to increase the size of it, like with the schools.
Yeah.
They could add additional classrooms because of the growth and all. Sure.
So, and then the funds from the breakfast could be used to supplement those payments?
Absolutely. And that's what's been neat. Excuse me, Maria.
No,
but
that's fine.
the funding that we've raised through the breakfast and all over the years has usually been complemented with either your LED grants from the state or other donations. We've had this anonymous donor that if you give money over the ticket price for several years, that would match that. So there was a few years ago when we didn't have the breakfast, and thanks to WRNR, we netted $21,000 that year because we didn't have any expense. We didn't have to buy any food. We just sat out there and collected the money as people drove through the park because of COVID. And
Right. And
But
thanks to
so-
WR and some contested elections.
right,
A couple
right.
people started to bid
Yeah,
against each other.
They
on
sure
that one.
did, yeah. But it was a
So
great
how
fundraiser.
much is usually raised at the breakfast?
Oh, it's grown a little bit. But I would say now 15,000.
Yeah, that's approximate, but we net
And then
almost
if,
that a year.
if we get the anonymous donor back on board, that usually adds another 5 or 6.
So let me ask this. We talked in the earlier segment, Steve in particular, about the new parks, north and south. Is there a need to put a pool in North and South Berkeley? I mean, because I drove by. This was not at 8:30 at night. It was during the day, and there's like not 1 square foot where there's not a towel. Granted, this week has been an anomaly, but would there be a need? And then how do you fund the pool piece, north and south?
No question, in the park system, the two most expensive things to take care of are the two pools. Biggest headaches of the whole park system are the two pools. The most costly, and people don't realize what it takes. Just in chlorine alone, when I left there, it was $22,000 a year, but now it's over $30,000 a year just in chlorine alone. So I mean, it's a huge undertaking. What's proposed now in phase 2 of the new Inwood Park is going to be a spray park, where there won't be any depth of water, but it'll be a $1 million spray park that we're hoping to sell to a corporate sponsor. and it doesn't require lifeguarding and all, just supervision, but not lifeguarding, because you don't have to worry about the depth of water. So that's the plan at this point. But could you use another pool in parts of the county? Sure. In saying that, though, there's a lot of private pools people have now in their backyards, and there's also I wouldn't say every, but a lot of developments have their own pools as well. So, you have to be to take care of another additional pool for our park system.
And then you think about just the personnel you need in the summer, just getting lifeguards, because you have to be certified, and and finding. They don't always have to be young people, but generally speaking, somebody who's willing to sit out there in
Baking in the sun.
103 degrees, worrying about a kid going under or what have you. It's a big responsibility.
It is. It's the biggest liability in the whole park system, to say no question about it. So,
Steve's happiest day for decades was
Labor
Day.
The day after the pools closed.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank Lord, we
I got
through another year
45
safely
years,
without any
45 years in that business, and never had a drowning in Berkeley County. And
It's amazing.
Guardian angel.
Yeah. You mentioned a minute ago we were talking about Memorial Park and the Labor Day breakfast, and then you talked about a pavilion at Poorhouse Farm Park. Can you take funds from the Labor Day breakfast and use them at Poorhouse Farm Park?
Would not.
Would not, right? Those would have to be War Memorial.
Yes,
right.
For War Memorial
That's
Park
why I was
Association
shaking
funds.
no, and he was.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were shaking your head no, because I thought the money had to be a dedicated expense
It
to
is.
War Memorial
It
Park.
is. That's correct.
The War Memorial Park Association is
Specifically to
a
raise funding
fundraiser
for
for
War
War
Memorial
Memorial
Park.
Park.
Yeah, so then...
In fact, there's money's been set aside. Macy's put up, gave the county $375,000, and a pavilion at the new Hoax Run Park down on 901 has a pavilion there that was paid for by Macy's. The Inwood Park is going to have a new pavilion paid for by Macy's, and one is designated for a new pavilion at Poorhouse Farm from those proceeds as well. So
That's great. Yeah,
Yep.
good for Macy's, good for Berkeley County and
For
the park
sure.
system, too.
Yep.
Is there a need for a new pavilion at the at War Memorial Park, Buzz? Is there even a location where you could put one?
Always could squeeze something in, but we want a variety of sizes. I mean, not everybody's bringing the whole Rotary Club or their
Family
Big
reunion of 100.
Procter and Gamble picnic or whatever. So we have a variety of different sizes. We've got a nice blend of that now, and enough privacy around each one.
I think we're peaked out. That's my opinion. When we took over the park in '87, there were 3, and now there's 6. And there's various sizes. So if you have a bigger group, larger group, and you have a smaller group, you have a size. So, and as far as parking and all, when on the weekends when all 6 are rented, there's not a space to park any more cars. They go out on the streets and park.
So what's the fee to get into the pool nowadays? What is it for a child to go swimming in the afternoon?
I believe it's 5.
Okay. All right.
This is not their full-time job.
I get it. But there is no fee associated with the pickleball courts if people want to play pickleball at War Memorial Park.
Just like tennis at P.O. Faulkner, and pickleball at War Memorial, or at the new pickleball courts at Baltimore Street.
All free.
That are packed every evening.
They sure are.
Yeah.
1 minute to go. When will the tickets be available for the Labor Day breakfast?
July 1, where we'll have the tickets available. It's a process where I get the tickets out to many individuals, as Maria knows, and she's usually one of the volunteers that helps me. Thank you.
Of course she is.
Oh, boy.
So
No pressure, Buzz.
And she's a great volunteer coordinator.
Yeah.
and as president, you're calling her the queen. To me, this year she's Madam President.
Madam.
Of
There
the
you go.
Chamber of Commerce. So she's wearing a lot of hats this year.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm sure I'll see you again before Labor Day.
We hope so. We hope so.
This segment of our program today